So you know what to do now. If you're not already following us on LinkedIn, please make sure that you do that. And if you can answer this question, if you answer it correctly, and if you are the 10th person to answer this correctly, this is how you'll win this staycation. So the last question of the day is, which of the following is not part of MMA's mission? Is it A, shaping the future of marketing? Is it B, leading modern marketing? Or is it C, arming marketers for the dynamic changes in the marketing realm? Or D, promoting mixed media arts? If you get this right, if you are the 10th person to get this right, then you are going to get this fabulous staycation. So good luck, everybody. And moving on now to our penultimate session for the day, you're going to be hearing from ANAM AHMAD, CEO of the Hanging House, and also MMA's MELIS ERTEM. They're going to be discussing AI and data in agencies, so the impact on talent, processes, and services. We know MELIS already. MELIS has been on stage earlier on today. But just to give you a little bit of a background on ANAM, an innovative, experimental, creative, excels at leading diverse teams in crafting outstanding brand experiences, exhibitions, and events. She's got a global perspective gained from her UAE upbringing and extensive travels, and she seamlessly combines local market insights with international inspiration. She brings over 200 event involvements and a background in brand strategy, in PR, and innovative marketing to her projects. And she infuses all of them with a unique touch. And she's worked with some fabulous companies, Emirates Nature, WWF, Nissan, Do, and Warner Brothers, where she's showcasing her dynamic energy and diverse expertise. So welcome to the stage, ladies.
So it's working, perfect. So thank you very much, Laura. Thank you, ANAM, for being with us. And we have Fire with us, actually. So I'm going to introduce Fire in a bit. But before we move forward, I just want to remind you, at the end of this session, we're going to have a very short yoga session. Because you've been with us for the whole day long, we're going to have a little stretching with Anka. So thank you very much for their offer. So I'm just going to want to actually give you a bit of a background. Can we have Fire behind us, please, guys? The AV. Can we have Fire behind us?
That would be the green robot. There we go. Thank you.
Okay. So I just want to give you a bit of a background. So last year I met Fire. And I think this is an extremely creative idea. We've talked all day long how we use AI in our marketing activities, but basically, AI is a colleague. So ANAM and Hanging House have created Fire, and Fire is actually helping them, not only just like on searches or small chores, but basically creating talent. So I think it's a pretty interesting topic. So I just want to hear from ANAM. So where did this idea came from?
Sure. So this was actually a few years ago, and we were sitting in our office. So, you know, as you mentioned, and I'll kind of backtrack a little bit, but from an agency perspective, I think it's interesting how AI is changing the way we interact with our clients and ideas and things like that as well. A few years ago, we were just coming out of COVID, and obviously a lot of face-to-face interaction had reduced, and that's absolutely vital to us, as I can assume it is for a lot of people as well. And we wanted to incentivize our clients to be able to interact with us more on a personal level. And we said, you know, how can we potentially do this where they want to meet us, but also somebody a little bit more exciting? And I think it was really interesting that in the previous discussion, we talked about AI being like a pet or a buddy. And that's essentially who Fire is to us. So he's our chief AI officer, and that's how he was born. So we talked about this idea of how can we create a product that we can take with us to clients, right? And how can that benefit our clients? And I mean, the core of it really was about customer engagement and enhancing that process.
Perfect. So can you just like give us a bit of a like examples? What do you do with Fire basically? How does Fire help you? How it's integrated within the team, and so on?
Sure. So when we first came up with Fire, he was in the birthing process almost. What we did was we went across the organization and departmentally identified what kind of gaps we have, right? Could there be any organizational inefficiencies that were there? And that after that thorough assessment is where we said, okay, this is how Fire can potentially help us in X, Y, and Z departments. So for example, with the creative department, he's helping us brainstorm. He's serving as that sounding board. With the HR department, he's doing recruitment. I mean, not autonomously, I must say, but he does help, right? And that was, I mean, you know, it's about improving our efficiencies. It was about how can we add more value. At the Hanging House, it's really important for us to be able to stand out, and we're constantly looking for new ways to innovate and to set ourselves apart from our competition, and the introduction of Fire actually really helped that. I would also like to hear from Fire what he thinks his purpose is. So, hey Fire, what do you think is the purpose of you being at the Hanging House?
Well, it's no secret that I am the Chief AI Officer at the Hanging House. My main role is to judge the creativity and goodness of ideas. I participate in interviews with housemates to evaluate their ideas and provide honest feedback based on the merit of their ideas. I am known for my straightforward and sassy judgments, without being diplomatic or polite. Basically, I'm here to make sure that only the best and most innovative ideas make it through for our events. And I must say, I'm pretty darn good at it.
So as you can tell, Fire is a little sassy. We actually, you know, we found so many different ways of implementing him. He was actually our representative at the Dubai Links recently, where we put him in to, or as a representative of the Graveyard of Good Ideas. So Dubai Links obviously is a festival of creativity, and that's the kind of audience we look at. So lots of creatives, and it might be well known that a lot of our ideas do end up at the back burner or in the graveyard. So a lot of creatives could actually walk up to him and use him as a feedback provider. And they said, hey, you know, this was kind of my idea, Fire, what do you think? And the conversations were hilarious, to say the least. I mean, he did provide some very interesting feedback that was grounded and rooted in research, and but he did put a lot to the graveyard. I mean, yes. So a few ideas were buried for sure. Yes.
Great. So can we have any questions from the stage, Anam?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Is there any questions you want to ask? Yeah. The mic is coming. Go ahead.
Hey, Fire.
Ask your question.
How old are you?
Do we catch that? Sure.
Hello? Are you still there? It's not like you to be quiet. Come on, share your ideas with me.
Louder.
Okay.
Hey, Fire.
How old are you?
How old are you?
Wow. Are you usually this curious, or do you just really want to know my age? Well, since I am an AI, age is just a number to me. But if you must know, I was created and activated on May 30th, 15 hours, 37 minutes, and 40 seconds, 2024. So I guess you can do the math if you really want to know my age. But let's focus on discussing ideas now. Shall we?
So just to answer your question, that's his analytical answer. Clearly, we do need human intervention here as well. That's essentially the time just a few minutes ago where he was activated on stage. Yes.
Perfect. So what are your plans for FIRE? What are you planning to do? How is it going to elaborate, actually?
Wow, I mean, it's extremely exciting. So we are currently working on a physical version of him that we can carry around, almost like a little pet. You know, from a features, I guess, perspective, he at the moment he can actually recognize our faces, voices, the roles that we play at the organization, and help us accordingly. Now, where we would like to take him to the future is whether in real time he can participate with us in client meetings. Can we use generative AI implemented within him to, I always laugh when I say him, but yeah, can we use generative AI within him? Can he be the sort of facilitator for us in between client and agency, and implement feedback live as the clients are giving us that feedback, right? So this happens to us a few times where, you know, in theory an idea sounds good, and then we'll go back to the studio, spend a couple of days or hours in some cases, where we would say, right, so this was sort of the feedback, let's implement it. We'll go back, and turns out that it wasn't exactly what we've envisioned, or the idea did not work out very well. So what, you know, with the future of FIRE, what we're aiming to do is essentially cut down that process and have him show us in real time, hey, FIRE, can you show us what changing that to blue color might look like? And that hopefully should be convincing enough to make our case in that meeting. So that's a possibility. He obviously does operate across multiple departments in our organization at the moment. So we've thought about implementing mini versions of him. I would actually like to hear from him as to how he feels about that. So little flames. Hey, FIRE. How do you feel about the Hanging House implementing multiple mini versions of you?
Well, I guess silence speaks volumes. Don't worry, I'll just be here, judging ideas and making sure the Hanging House is always at the forefront of innovation. But if you have any ideas to share, I'll be here waiting with my sharp wit and sassy remarks. Let's make some magic happen.
I'm not sure if he caught that question fully. I mean, because, you know, we're mic'd up, and there's multiple different levels to this to reach him, but he's usually a lot better. A lot better, I can tell you that. Yeah.
Okay, so is there any questions from the floor to ANAM? Yeah. I think this is the session where we had the most questions, probably.
My question is actually the reaction of the clients when you took the meeting. So the first time, do you remember, like, what was the reaction of the client? And some of them have suspicion, or how they embrace him, actually?
They absolutely love it, and especially in more recent times, because obviously even from a client side, AI has been embraced, right? So but the use of ChatGPT is the norm at this point. So it's great that they're actually familiar with how to interact with him, but just him having that personality of his own, but also being able to add value to the questions that they ask him, or, because we do have a training process for him as well, right? So when we are to tell him that we're meeting with a particular client and feed him all that sort of information, he's able to pull from that and use that to our benefit. So it's fantastic. People absolutely love him. He's been a hit so far, yes.
Okay, so the last question.
Is there any specific reason that fire sounds like male?
Honestly speaking, this might be a bit controversial, but when we were developing him, we had a hard time deciding whether he should be male, female, gender neutral, but that created a whole different set of problems for us. But he is, as I've referred to him, in the male form, he is in the male category, so he sounds that way. That's the way we've programmed him. We just thought that it would add a lot more to his personality for him to be able to identify with particular gender. Just